Go back to your country. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. You look so ugly with your dark skin color. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's white and he's your master.
I hate this so much. Yes, Chinese people can be racist too. They are human beings. God, we can suck.
Alright? You act like a nigga.
Let me get this clear. This woman right here, this individual does not represent the Asian community.
The Asian community is literally so anti-black, and it literally fucking pisses me off. Like, we are literally so uneducated, uninformed, just misinformed, everything about the black community, and it pisses me off. And like, it just boggles my mind how a lot of Asians see black people as beneath them.
We should stop racism. Stop.
Greetings, family. I hope you're doing fantastic, and it's always a pleasure to have you here in my channel. So you ever wondered why some Asians hate on black people, and in some cases they always treat us like we are beneath them? Well, to some of them it is not ignorance. It is something that they were taught by their parents when they were growing up. Imagine being taught by your parents to hate on someone because of their skin color. They were being taught that blackness equals to laziness, danger, or inferiority. So these are lies that are wrapped in cultural norms, okay? You see, even some Asian kids, they are explicitly told not to hang out with black children, and some of them are being told not to marry black people. So this shows how racism is deeply rooted in their communities.
This doesn't tell us what they be telling y'all at home that make y'all not like us so bad.
So you already know a lot of what my content covers, like racial triangulation, the model minority myth, Asian businesses in black neighborhoods, affirmative action, and so on. As for what I was told in the home behind closed doors when I was growing up, that's not the most fun trip down memory lane, but I always like to be honest about acknowledging anti-blackness among Asian Americans, especially when the call was coming from my own house, so here we go. I first became aware of my mom's anti-blackness when I started kindergarten, and it mostly centered around avoiding interactions with black people and not allowing me to be exposed to anything that she considered black culture. So if we were walking and she saw a black person, she would pull me closer to her. If we were in the car in a parking lot and saw a black person in the parking lot, she would make a point to lock the doors, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap or Michael Jackson or Tina Turner. And she was hypocritical about that, because I wasn't allowed to listen to Cyndi Lauper or Madonna either. She would call it trash music and say that it was going to be a bad influence, but if it was a white artist, it was not racialized. It was only when it was black artists that it was racialized. And another thing that I think is kind of typical is, as a musician, there were a lot of black artists whom she respected and enjoyed, but she would always say that one black artist is the exception, the rest are bad influences. When I went to school, if I came home and said I made a friend, her first question would be white or black. And that drove me nuts, because in preschool, I dealt with a lot of bullying and discrimination because of being Asian, so it didn't make sense to me that she wanted me to turn around and do that very same thing to my black classmates, whom she knew nothing about, on the basis of their skin color. And when I wouldn't stay away from my black friends, she would resort to making up justifications as to why it was harmful for me. She would say they're going to hurt me and they're going to be a bad influence because they fight and they swear and they're not good students. And of course, none of that was true. And in my household, it was not physically or emotionally safe to voice your opinions, but about that I would, because it literally angered me. And then she would resort to physical violence. And that sealed the deal in my mind that prejudice is purely irrational, because none of her claims had any basis in reality, and that's why she had to resort to physical force. Unfortunately, I think that when parents resort to intimidation and violence to instill prejudice in their children, a lot of times it works. But I was very lucky because the principal of my elementary school was a black woman who implemented a program called Students Educating Each Other About Discrimination. And that wasn't centered on racial discrimination, it was about discrimination in general. But in that program, we learned to have discussions about discrimination and to identify it and disrupt it. Which at that age just means if you witness discrimination, say it's discrimination and articulate how you know that it's discrimination. So from learning that very powerful tool at school, I was able to identify that what my mom was doing at home was wrong. Additionally, the principal was a black woman, so I had a Black woman in a position of leadership as a role model. And in my school district, she wasn't a token. They really valued Black leadership, from teachers to administration, guidance counselors, all the way up to superintendents. And so I was surrounded by Black role models who made me see that reality did not line up with what my mom was trying to teach me. The straw that broke the camel's back was sometime around the ages of between 7 and 9. I was planning a birthday party, and I told my mom that I want to invite my friend Keisha, which I knew was going to be an issue, but I thought I would try. And she said no, and I said, fine, then I don't want to have a birthday party, and she made me have the birthday party. So now that felt like that's not only cruel to me, but that's cruel to my friend Keisha, whom you don't even know because you refused to meet her. Shortly after that, we were walking in the mall, and my mom did this thing that she often did, which is she sees Black people minding their own business, and under her breath, she mumbles a derogatory term in Chinese for Black people. And I remember I pulled back on her hand and faced her, and I said, they are not doing anything. You don't know them. The next time you do that, I am going to go up to them, and I'm going to tell them what you said. And believe it or not, the fear of exposure by me actually made her tone it down, and she stopped doing that in public. Fortunately, my mom did not live and die that way. In later years, she came around to seeing and later openly admitting how wrong she was. In her older age, one of her best friends really was Black, and my mom admitted to her friend what her previous attitudes had been and why. And from those conversations, I was able to gain some insight as to what my mom's motivation was for her anti-Blackness. Because I think most people feel, since Asian Americans also are harmed by white supremacy, how does it make any sense for Asian Americans to be anti-Black? My mom spent most of her young life in Hong Kong when it was under British occupation, and then in the 1950s, she came to the United States when she was 16 years old. Generations before my mom, her family had been living in and doing business around Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau, which were French, British, and Portuguese occupied areas. So she was heavily indoctrinated into anti-Blackness in Hong Kong, where she had no exposure to Black people that would have shown her a different reality. And furthermore, what she was indoctrinated into is the idea that an Asian can elevate their status in white spaces by aligning with white supremacy, which includes aligning with anti-Blackness. So I think what my mom was doing with me is that from a young age, she saw that I was having a hard time as an Asian American assimilating. So she felt that if I associated with Black classmates, that would make assimilating into white spaces even harder. And she was concerned that associating with Black classmates would negatively impact my status in white spaces. Well, we all know with me that the outcome was I understand very clearly what spaces I want to be part of and what spaces I don't. So my mom was really proud that she was westernized. She was proud that she spoke English without an accent, that she was very well versed in European culture, and she actually looked down upon my dad for being what she called traditional and therefore backwards. Right, so where was my dad in all of this? My dad grew up in Taiwan, where he had no exposure to Black people, but he also had very little exposure to Western media. I think when he came to the United States, he was a bit uncertain around Black people because of the lack of familiarity and the slight media bias, but it only took a very little being around Black people to see that prejudice is irrational and that it serves a white supremacist agenda that he doesn't want to uphold. As I said before, in my household, it wasn't physically or emotionally safe to voice opinions that differed from my mom, so I do understand why my dad didn't speak up when my mom was being anti-Black. He had a hard enough time keeping my brother and I safe. However, what he would do is, when it was just my dad and I, he would make sure to teach me or give me resources about accurate Black history. So, for example, a lot of my mom's rhetoric surrounded musicians. So my dad would teach me about Berry Gordy, Chuck Berry, Marian Anderson, Jesse Norman. If the claim was that Black people don't value education, he would tell me about Black scholars, academics, and scientists, and so on. So that, in a nutshell, is what I was told at home behind closed doors when I was growing up.
It just boggles my mind how a lot of Asians see Black people as beneath them. I shit you not, I literally saw someone on my story and I literally was so gagged. Like, I was like, are you serious right now? And I sent him a message, ask him if he's being serious about this. This guy is Bhutanese. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but like, I guess he got like some kind of spray tan or whatever because he's doing some kind of stupid movie shoot or whatever. Roy posts on his story and says, because his skin is like 10 shades darker or something, he said, Can I say the N-word now with a ninja emoji next to it? I slid up so fucking quick and I asked this man, are you fucking serious right now? And guess what? That man left me on red. Need I say again that he is not black? He is Bhutanese from Bhutan or whatever the fuck you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Quite honestly, like, the Asian community is literally so underhandedly racist to the black community, and it just, like, not to mention the black community is one of the most supportive of marginalized groups that has ever, like, uplifted the Asian community and actually put effort into supporting us. I'm probably gonna piss a lot of Asians off for saying that, but it's literally the truth, and I fucking see it for what it is.
You act like a nigga.
Let me get this clear. This woman right here, this individual does not represent the Asian community. Her POC card is revoked. She is not a person of color anymore. White people, you can have her. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm sick and tired of seeing my Asian people in the comments talking about, I apologize on her behalf. I apologize for her behavior. Oh my God, I am so ashamed of being Asian. Shut the fuck up. You shouldn't apologize for someone else, bro. Real shit. Like, she is not even part of our community. Why would we let this woman represent our community when she's making us look bad? No, she is not Asian. Period. Another thing I want to say is that two wrongs do not make a right. Just because you've seen this one Asian, I put the quotation marks around the Asian because she's not Asian in my book. Just because you've seen this one Asian lady be racist does not mean you should be racist to all Asian people. This one Asian lady should not represent the Asian community as a whole. That's ridiculous. Do not respond in racism towards Asian people as a whole, bro. You're coming for me who's not racist. You're coming for everybody who's not racist. Every Asian that's not racist. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you see the comments of this video, you see everybody moving like New York drill rappers if they were racist. They're talking about every Asian shot, every Asian dead, smoking on all Asians. I'm on BT with every Asian. Stop Asian hate, more like go Asian hate. Fuck all the Asians. Like, relax, please. She is not Asian. She does not represent our community. Please. Another point I want to make is that Asian people and black people should not go against each other. We are both minorities in America. If anything, we should reunite and fight against the system, the unfair system. Tension between the Asian community and the black community has been here for a very long time. You can clearly see this in the 1992 LA riots. But this is what the media wanted. This is what the government wanted. They want minorities to go against each other. So we should change that and join forces. Like, what are we doing? Imagine how powerful we will be. Like, look at Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. We should be like these. We should be like them. Moral of the story is that we should stop racism. Stop. And as minorities in America, we should all unite.
This couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, our greatest allies have been the black community. Black and Asian solidarity has a long history. And that's not to erase the examples from both sides of intolerance, hate, and violence. But at our best, we have long fought alongside each other, such as Frederick Douglass advocating for Chinese and Japanese immigration in 1869. Or when Henry Turner and I.D.B. Wells spoke out on behalf of Filipino freedom fighters. Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Martin Luther King, and many black protesters condemning the violence and war in Vietnam. Japanese Americans fighting alongside the black community to repeal the Emergency Detention Act. The powerful relationship between Yuri Kochiyama and Malcolm X. Grace Lee Boggs and her husband James Boggs. Jesse Jackson, the NAACP for Vincent Chin. And the majority of Asian Americans who support the Black Lives Matter movement.
Actually, a lot of black people you'll talk to say they prefer the racism in China over back in the States. They perceive it to be differently because here they see it more as ignorance, whereas in the States it's more like hate. Like, people actually hate you and like want to kill you or threaten you violently. But in China it's more like, it's just different. It doesn't seem like they hate you. Especially when I speak Chinese, I can go almost anywhere and talk to people, at least in the places I've been so far, and people will kind of accept me, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that, but they won't be like, oh, get out of my store. They won't follow me around in the store and see if I'm trying to steal something. They won't, like, I don't know, be rude to me. Now, that's not the case for all black people. Again, I'm the Obama black, I guess, that Chinese people are more comfortable with. So when you have kind of darker skinned black people, their experiences are much different than mine.
还行，还可以吧。
Hello，
哥们儿，
挺黑呀。
你就不应该那么说，你知道吗？
啊？
你说的一点都不礼貌，你知道吗？
代表你的肤色，他并没有歧视你。
没有，
黑呀，
你不应该那么说，这个不是特别的去尊敬人，你知道吗？
他并不是歧视。
没有，我知道，没事，别讲了。
不好意思。
没事。
可能理解不了这个意思。
我能理解这个意思，没事。This guy is trying to kill my mood, you know? He's just trying to kill my vibe. I don't like racist people at all, you know? I don't like people who are being racist. He's just trying to deny that he wasn't trying to be racist just now, but I could hear him really clearly that he was trying to be racist to me.
I woke up out of my sleep because this needed to be said. Asians want to be black adjacent with white privilege. And just that thought alone, which is a very true thought, is kind of sickening because, again, I'll never stop speaking on it. They emulate black culture, black aesthetics, everything so heavily in the means of joking or because it's wacky. You know, white people try to say that all the time back in the day. Oh, black people do this wacky, funky stuff. And then hoopla, they try to switch it to something else. They try to give it a different name. But it's sad because, again, Asian people know what it's like to experience racism, especially from white people, and to be oppressed by white people. However, they get that bit of what they feel is an amenity and they turn it towards black people. They want to be black adjacent with white privilege. And that's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I think the media has also played a massive role. Western media, including Hollywood, spent decades portraying black people as criminals, thugs, or hypersexual. That narrative was exported globally, including to Asia, where many people accepted those portrayals without question. In many Asian cultures, lighter skin is associated with beauty, purity, and success, while darker skin is seen as dirty, poor, or low status. This is rooted in colonialism and classism. So when they see dark-skinned black people, that same colorist mentality kicks in, not because of who we are, but because of centuries-old lies that say, the lighter you are, the better you are. When there are tensions over jobs or status, black people get blamed. Some Asians see black immigrants or travelers as unworthy competitors, even if they're not competing at all. And let's be real, anti-blackness exists even in places where there are very few black people. That shows it's not about experience, it's about taught hatred. To the Asian brothers and sisters watching this is not an attack. This is a wake-up call. Some of y'all are carrying hate that was never yours to begin with. You were handed it by your parents, your media, your culture, and you never stopped to question it. But it's time to question it now, because hatred unchecked becomes oppression. And to my black family, never let anyone make you feel less than. Their racism doesn't reflect your worth. Their ignorance does not define your greatness. We are powerful, beautiful people, and the world has tried to break us for centuries. But guess what? We are still here, still rising. Let's keep exposing the truth. Let's keep pushing black against hate, no matter where it comes from. Black unity is global. Anti-blackness won't win, not on our watch. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you found value in what we shared, kindly consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss any update from my videos. Your support really means a lot and it helps us keep bringing you more insightful content. Thanks again and see you in the next video.